learn about your fabric. To make sure that we cut our fabric out properly from our pattern pieces, we have to make sure we understand how all the pieces of the fabric work together. So we have our woven cotton fabrics. I have a couple of different examples out here on the table. One of the things I want to talk to you about is something called selvage. Selvage you'll find on any roll of fabric, especially when you go to the fabric store and buy your fabric. The selvage is going to be this top border that you're going to see sometimes with some writing. Maybe it has some numbers and colors. That's like the order of dyeing that was used. This fabric, this plain gold fabric, doesn't have anything because it's really just one color, but it has these dotted lines, and you can see the fabric doesn't really come apart in this section. If you turn it to the side over here, you can see that it's very frayed along the edges of my fabric. So this is called a cut edge. This is called the selvage. And the selvage is going to be really important for us to understand the grain of our fabric. And that is talking about which way the threads are going to create the fabric. So there's usually a warp and a weft through our thread. And if you look closely, I have an example over here, you could see which way the threads are going. The selvage edge is always parallel with the straight grain. That means they're going to just go straight across in the same direction as the selvage edge. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Come on over here. I have a little piece of fabric cut out. So here's our selvage right up here. You can see the little dots, and it's not coming undone. It's not frayed. If you look at the side over here, here's our cut edge. And all these little frayed looking things, if you get real close, in a very magnified way, you'll see there's lines sticking out this way, and that's going all the way across our fabric, and that's the straight grain. And that's going to be really important when we look at our pattern tissue and it's telling us to line something up on the straight grain. That means it's all going to go in this direction. The cross grain is this up and down line of thread, and that's what weaves through the straight grain to make our fabric. Okay? Let's talk about the fold of the fabric. That's what it sounds like when you fold something in half. You usually end up with a piece, two pieces, one on each side, and the bottom is sort of bent in on itself. So this is an open edge up here, and I'm going to take the two ends, I'm going to take my two selvages and place them together, and I'm going to get this fold here at the bottom. And this again is going to be a point that we're going to make when we're laying out our pattern tissue on our fabric, so that some things you'll either cut it once and you'll get two pieces, or you'll end up cutting it on the fold, and when you open it up it looks like one large piece. Okay, so the fold sometimes will be told to you, and that means you need to make sure your fabric is kept folded. I'll also just point out that when you go to the fabric store and buy your fabric from a bolt of fabric, it is often already on the fold. So up here is my selvage. So you'll see there's two selvage edges, and if you open it up, here's my fold right down here. Okay? Let's talk cut edges. Those are going to be the edges when you cut your fabric away from the bolt. They're going to look cut or frayed. And that's what we were pointing at a little earlier today. So I have my fabric here again. It's still on the fold. Our selvage is at the top here. And you can see all these frayed edges along the side is my cut edge. And there's usually two cut edges because we have detached it, meaning we cut it off the bolt. So they'll have another side that has a cut edge. Some people might call it the raw edge. We're going to call it the cut edge in our patterns. Okay? I'm just going to quickly recap the different components or the different parts of our fabric here so that you guys can remember. Up here at the top, if you might be able to think this out loud if you want, it's our selvage edges. And because our fabric is on the fold, we have both of our selvage edges up here. And on both sides, you will find our cut edges. Okay? If you can remember these keywords, you're going to notice that they're going to be in a lot of sewing machine patterns you're going to pick up over time.